calm meditation. So let's dwell back our Celestine Prophecy. We have learned about the first insight and the second insight. He is talking about, the other is talking about the preoccupation. So that whoever the man that he met in the professor that he met in the, what do you say, in flight, he's talking about. And he's saying that everyone today, awareness of coincidences today represents a kind of awakening from this preoccupation. So he is saying that, author is saying that every one of us is preoccupied. That's what we can see even now, right? So everyone was so busy, preoccupied, everything. So what is this preoccupation, he asked. Like, okay, so are you ready to relive the millennium? So he's asking, ready to relive the millennium? So what is that? Ready to, it's not about just that moment. If it is not, if you say it is not just that about that moment, it's saying that you have to understand the history and you must grasp every view of the world, how developed, how it was created, what is the reality that people who lived before you. So the how we live today is the people who lived before you, right? So 1,000 years has happened to come to this modern day, that what we are actually today. So we have to see the 1,000 years things and really understand why we are today, where we are today. We must take back 1,000 and move forward the entire millennium experimentally. So then he said, how do I do that? Because now I am already here. How do I do that 1,000 years back, and how do they do it? So he's hesitating for a moment and glancing out to the windows and for seeing the formations of the clouds and all. So how I can go back 1,000 and how I can feel that time, which is already a different feeling, right? 1,000 years back, not only 1,000 years back. Suppose we are all like in 40s. Suppose if you say 40 years back, it's a so it means that itself now we cannot imagine. Forget about all these things. Can you imagine the days that you without cell phone you have lived? If you are going out without connectivity, you lived. Can you imagine that? Because our kids, it is unimaginable. How do you do it, right? So that's how they feel it. But we all lived that age. So how do I go to the 1,000 years back? Imagine that the thing, right? So then he started. Imagine yourself being alive in the year of 1,000. He's asking our hero James to imagine that he lived in the year of 1,000 in what we call that Middle Ages. That's a Middle Age, right? So the first thing you must understand is the reality of this time is being defined the powerful churchmen. So in those days, everything was defined by the powerful churchmen of the Christian church. Because so they used to tell what is real, what is actually, what is the spirituality, and what is that creates the life, what is the God's plan for the mankind. So whatever that they tell, the churchman has tell, that's the final. That's what it has happened, right? So you find yourself in the class of your father, especially, essentially the peasant and aristocrat, and you know that you will always be confined to this class. But regardless of which class you are in, a particular work you do, you soon realize that social position is secondary to the spiritual reality of the life that defined by the churchman. So social position is totally different, right? So even now, spirituality is totally different and the social position is different. Suppose if I want to add my experience, when I go to Peru, so everybody is talking about this is earth energies, this is sun energies, this is moon energies. So if you are, this is the spirits are here after afterlife, this will be like this. So people are talking day in and day out that kind of words, but we call them as a spirituality. We call, if we are actually doing that, we call that as a so spiritual people. Because we don't talk that into the day in day out. Even the guide is talking, even the people who are actually on the roadside who are selling the goods, they're also talking. Oh ma'am, this is a earth energy thing, you will get an energy if you wear this, that kind of thing, right? So people will sell here also, people will sell, but you don't hear that such kind of words. So such a kind of things, if you see me, just because it is showing me on the camera, if you see me, so these are the earrings, I just bought it from there. So this said it is a 7 chakras energy. So everything was surrounded by that kind of energy that they are saying, right? So 7 chakra energy. So like this, they are actually talking. So he's asking, visualize that those days. You find yourself in the class. So you visualize that kind of life is about the passing a spiritual test. If you go there, life is about the passing a spiritual test. Even in the Thinking and Destiny that I'm discussing on the other book club, they say that we are all the failed souls. In the spiritual test, we failed. That's why we came to this earth planet to learn some of the lessons. So the moment we reach to the stage where we can pass the test, okay, when we pass that test, we will be actually becoming one with that supreme intelligence. Until then, until we pass that particular test, we will be born again and again on this earth planet. So here is saying that, here also the saying, life is about passing the spiritual test. That's what you will discover. Okay, that's what the churchman has also explained to the mankind, surrounded by the entire cosmos for one solitary purpose: win or lose the salvation. So they just gave that win or lose the salvation. Whether you got that mukti or salvation or liberation or whatever it is, or lose it. So as a trial, right, it's the force of the God that is, it is the force of the God or the temptations of the evil. These are the two things. That is even if we take in any of the life, right? So that was explained differently in different religions. So he's talking about the Christianity and Hindu. There is a swargam. They said heaven and hell, all the things, right? So similar kind of things. So though they are saying that it is all the judgment there. Here we may say that the priest, whoever has taught us in those days, somehow it is all the parallel it is happening. He will explain in detail that the religion of gods in the next chapter. We will get it. That's a beautiful thing. The chapter is ahead of that's in the other book. Sorry. So he also talked about the religion of gods in another book. But understand, don't force the contest alone. In fact, a mere individual, you are not qualified to determine your status in this regard. Therefore, to interrupt the scriptures and tell you every step the way, whether you are accordance with the God or whether you are duped by the Satan. So who are telling those days? Everything was explained by the church people. Similarly, if I take Hinduism, so everything was coded language. Some people was written as a coded language because that was written in a Sanskrit. So we need some people, some pandits, some priests. We need some people to explain about the things or to elaborate those slokas, what they have told us. So then you are assured of rewarding the afterlife to follow. So when you are actually follow those things, you are assured of the afterlife to follow. And if you say here, you are assured of going to the heaven in the in Indian philosophy, right? In Hindu philosophy. And when I go to the Egyptian philosophy also, the mummification, all those things, why they are doing? So their assurance of the next life, they will come and they will cherish all these things somehow. So every religion, every part of the culture that was taught 1,000 years back was taught by somebody that either it is the force of the God or it is the force of the devil or something. So Debson was looked intensely. The manuscript says that important thing to understand here is that every aspect of medieval world is defined by the otherworldly terms. So in the medieval world, every aspect was defined by the otherworldly terms. So whatever that you do was defined by what is going to happen in the next other world. So whatever you do here, the other world, you will be having something different. So if you do good here, the other world will be good. If you do bad here, something like that. So whatever you do in this particular world, the other world was defined. Similarly, even in our Hindu scriptures also the same thing, right? If you do good, you'll go to heaven and you will have all these Rambha, Urvasi or whatever the things. And if you do bad, you'll go to the hell and you will be fried in the oil or something. So all our Puranas or something was given. So this medieval period was explained like that. So the chance of thunderstorm or an earthquake to the success of crops or the death of a loved one is defined by either the will of the God or the malice of the devil. Anything and everything was defined by either the will of the God or malice of the devil. Because even if there is a thunderstorms and something happened, or there is an earthquake, something happened, and beloved person was died. It is all defined by these things only. There is no concept of weather, or there's no concept of geological forces, or in horticulture, or there's no concept of disease in those days. So if somebody died, oh, some god has got some hungry or something like that, because of that this has happened. So something in the similar way it is happening. For now, you completely believe in churchmen. So in those days, they completely believed in the churchmen, and world is taking granted for operating whatever the churchman says, it is a granted. That's what is happening, and everybody follows that. So he stopped and is asking hey, are you there? Yeah. James, our hero, is saying that, oh yeah, I see the reality. Because we also can confirm, right? We also are feeling like, okay, in Indian also, in Hindu philosophy also, it is like that. So he started imagining. So in the medieval days and how it is actually begins to fall apart. So that views have begun to fall apart in 14th and 15th centuries. So people started questioning. People started questioning this churchman or the priest or whoever it is, right? So they started questioning, secretly violating their oaths and chasts. Because why they started questioning these things? These priests or these churchmen, whoever is actually preaching to the people, they are secretly violating these laws or these oaths or this chastity. So they are actually not following it, taking the gratitudes from other people. When the government officials violate the scriptural laws, they are taking some gratitudes and they are doing, oh, this is a if you do this can go away. If you do this can go away. If you give some 10,000 rupees and do this puja, this can go away. That we all know, right? That's how it's the medieval period. Okay, these improprieties alarm you because the churchmen hold themselves to be only the connection between you and God. Because why? Those are only the people between the you and the God. These churchmen people or the priests are there. So they only interpret the scriptures. They are the solo people who can give you the salvation. So they are only interpreting and they are only explaining it. Suddenly, there is a rebellion. So they started, why they have to do that? I also learned Sanskrit. I will also understand what it is there. I will also teach something kind of thing, right? The rebellion. So the Martin Luther King time is calling a complete break of the papal Christianity. So he became a rebellion. New churches are being formed based on the idea that each person should be able to have an access to the scriptures personally and interpret them as they wish, with a no middleman. So new kind of culture has come, new kind of churches has come. So no need to interpret by the churchman. Everyone can understand. Everyone that script or that Bible or that Purana, that whatever it is, should be available to everybody, and they can interpret themselves and they can learn themselves. Because it's a because this rebellion got succeeded. They got success because the churchmen was not so anymore. They are not so honest to themselves, whatever that they are doing, right? So the churchmen began to lose. For centuries, these men defined reality, and now before your eyes, they are losing their credibility. Consequently, the whole world became thrown into the question. So when these churchmen was thrown away, they were no more the thing. So the whole world became a question. The clear consciousness about the nature of the universe and about the humankind purpose is here. So there the question comes, what is the purpose of this humankind? What's the purpose? When the churchman was described, so this is they're collapsing and leaving the humans. So they started. That's where that started. The Western culture was started with the 14th, 15th centuries. You have grown accustomed. So until now, you have grown accustomed to the authority. Somebody is saying something, define that reality without external direction and feel. So you just proceeded your life. Now you feel lost. Totally, you feel lost because you're confused. There is so much. When you are reading, you may be seeing some contradictory things there. When you're reading a scripture, you may read some contradictory things there. When you are reading that scripture, right? So people felt lost. The churchman description of the reality and the reason for human existence is wrong. So then what is right? So when they read the scriptures, the totally, so going to the hell or going to the, all the thing was wrong. Then what is the real? So now also, after we come to the meditation, when we read about that soul's journey or whatever the books that we have read, so there's no hell and heaven. There's no specific place. We are not getting fried by the boiling oil or anything. What is that actually? The hell is that the deeds that you have done, when all the incidents of the life are seen as the real in real when you go upper life, then if you feel happy that you have lived your life and enjoyed successfully, very good, then you are good. If not, you feel so depressed. What I did? What did I do here? Why I was so miser? Why I could not help? So whatever that guilt feeling is nothing but the hell. Okay, if you yourself are creating your own hell or a heaven, depends on what you did in the life in the earth. So when you understand that, oh, you can say that, hey, there is no hell and heaven here. So whatever that we did here only, that will happen. Similarly here, they understood. So when they read the scriptures, they understood whatever the priest or churchman is saying, that is not the right. The whole world view is not right. So, in fact, the 1600s, the astronomers have provided the beyond doubt. So, there until then, you don't know that the people used to believe that sun and stars are revolving around the Earth previously. So then astronomers came and they said that they are not revolving around the Earth. Earth is only the small planet orbiting the minor sun in the galaxy, and that contained the billions of such stars. So all these things came up with the astronomers in 1600. So whatever that they believed sun and moon are revolving around the Earth was gone. That and previously the Earth is a flat surface. Then once they understand, once they found out that Earth is not a flat surface, it is a round. It's a round. Then that fact is gone. Similarly here also, this fact is gone. Whatever that they believed it, right? The sun and moon is revolving around the Earth. That is also gone. He learned this is important. Mankind has lost its place, the center of God's universe. So see the effect that they had. So then that time they said, okay, there is a no center of God. The mankind lost its effect also. Now you watch the weather, plants growing, someone suddenly die, what you feel in an anxious bafflement. Then in the past, everything was said as God is responsible or the devil is responsible. Whatever that has happened, if something is happy, God is responsible. If something is sad, then devil is responsible. So that's how the priestman said, right? So the things taken granted previously has now become a new definition, especially the nature of God and the relationship of the God to you. So that changed. So that, how did it change? With that awareness. So that is an awareness. With that awareness, the modern age begins. With that awareness, some 1600 later, the modern age began. There, the democratic spirit was started. Royal authority to disrupt the royal authorities. Definitions of the universe based on the speculation, spiritual faith are no longer automatically accepted. Now people are not accepting just like that. They want proof. Even for spirituality, they want proof. They do not want these controlling authorities of the churchmen. Whatever they did it, they do not want to go for it. So participated in the creation of the mandate for a science. So they want everything for science. What? He asked. Yes. For the God also, they want science. You would have looked out the vast, undefined universe. You have thought and did the thinkers that day. So they started thinking about who created this universe, what happened, how the consciously they build it up, systematically explore the new world of ours. And you have called this new way of discovering reality in a scientific method. So they started discovering everything in a scientific method, which is nothing more than testing an idea about how universe works. Okay, arriving afterwards the conclusion. So how universe is working. So they started discovering in this after the medieval ages. You have prepared, explored to go out into this new universe, and each armored with the scientific, everything was armored with the scientific method and an historic mission. Explore this place, find out how it works and what what it means when we found ourselves alive here. Find out. Go to the 1600th century and find out how you feel it when you are alive there. When you're alive there, you know that you had lost your certainty of the God ruled universe. So you just lost that the fact that it is not a God ruled universe. Because of that, you certainly became the nature of God himself. So what happened? You have that nature of the God. Not that it is a God ruled. So you can find out everything scientifically. When you started finding out what you find out, so the man started this, man started the growing the plants like this. Everything was started. So who started? The man started. Where is that man? It is not the God created universe. It is the man created. So that means that God like qualities are there in the man. That's how he started. See that everything boils down to aham brahmasmi. So the same thing, that God, that is there, tattvamasi. So that God, supreme consciousness, came into this mankind on this planet. So then he said, like the manuscript, what does the manuscript says here? That the point began where the preoccupation from which we are awakening now. So that's where. So once we realized, what it is saying is we come out of this preoccupation. We everybody was so preoccupied with the things, right? They will come out of this preoccupation. We send these explorers out, bring back a complete explanation of our existence. So bring back a complete explanation of our existence. So it brings back our existence because of the complexity of the universe. They were not able to return right away. So what was that preoccupation? So what is that preoccupation? Again, he is asking, put yourself in that. When a scientific method was formed, could not bring back a new picture of the God, the purpose of the mankind under the planet, the lack of certainty, the meaning affected by the Western culture deeply. So here we lost it. We don't know where is this new God looks like, or we lack the clarity of why that mankind came into this earth planet. What seems to be very logical, eventually we arrived a logical solution. What is that? We looked at each other, said, well, since our explorers have not returned with our true spiritual situation, why not settle down into the new world of ours while we are waiting? Why don't we settle down? So, okay, let the God come, so let us settle down in this new world. Are certainly learning enough to manipulate this new world to our own benefit. So when we are settling down, what we did is this new world, we are trying to settle down to our own benefit. Why not work in the meantime to rise our standard of living? So then the people started rising their standard of living. Okay, initially the goods, planting the different grains and all those things. You know that evolution, right? Our sense of security in the world. So we started growing all the things. So all Maslow's laws come into the picture. Like initially we will have food, shelter, all the things, and then we wanted to have a house secured, then we wanted to have a family. All the needs will be going up. By focusing or conquering the earth using the resources to better our situation, only now we approach the end of millennium can see that what happened. Our focus gradually became preoccupation. So that's what he said. So from there, because God's focus is gone, and in a way the God spirituality is right spirituality or right God picture come into the picture, we started developing our own standard of living. We started increasing our own standard of living. So we occupied in such a way that we became indulged into that one after the another. So we keep on raising our standard of living. So when we after the college, we thought that if we have a decent job, it's good enough. If we have a home to stay, it's a good enough. Then we thought that no, not at the home. I wanted to have a bigger home. I just want to have just God. I just need to have one car so that I can commute well. Then I said, I just need to have one luxury car. So I just want one car for each family member. So when the phone comes, I want to have one phone in the entire family so that we can communicate. Later, we want each Each one phone we don't want. We don't know what and one TV at the home is a good enough. But now each room we need to have a see how we actually raised our standard, right? The question like we keep on increasing, then actually where is the spirituality? It is gone and repressed altogether. Slowly it was pushed aside. That spirituality thing was pushed aside. Working to establish a more comfortable lifestyle, survival has grown feel complete and itself a reason to live. It became itself a reason to live. Why are you working? I want to have a good home. I wanted to have a good car. So I don't understand. Some of the people, even after almost the people, the kids will be gone to the colleges and all, then they will freshly they will go to the new home. The new EMI will be starting, which means that you keep on increasing the things. You became that reason because once you started a new home at the age of 50s, then you have to at least to pay for that home for another 20 years you need to work. So the reason to live is to whatever that you accumulated, right? To pay off those things, you have to be gradually, methodologically, you forgot your original question. Why you came to this earth planet? What is your purpose? That purpose is gone because you keep on increasing your thing. So that's how we keep on we go on increasing. So then finally, so they just give a pass here. So because the professor Dobson has given a pass, and this guy James is looking over and he's saying, "Oh, I think it is a Florida, Orlando seems to be," because through the flight he's talking about some other things because he's trying to distract the things, right? Then he asked suddenly, "Have you grasped the second insight?" But Dobson was not actually, even though he's trying to distract, his eyes are closing and all the things, but he's saying he came back. Have you understand the second insight? He said, no, I'm not sure. I did it, but I'm not sure. Do you feel the clear perspective of the human world? What do you see? Preoccupied everyone has been. Why? Why do you see? This is the perspective explains a lot. How many people do you know who are obsessed with their work? Who are type A, have stress-related diseases, who can't slow down because they use their routine to distract themselves, to reduce their life only for the practical considerations. That's what he's asking. Because everybody, every one of us, if you see, right, we are all preoccupied. We don't want to be idle. Something or the other, we will just do it. And we are all preoccupied with the things that are in our lives. The second insight extends our consciousness of historical time. Second insight is taking us back to the historical time to observe the culture, not just from the perspective of our own lifetimes, but also perspective of the whole millennium. From 1,000 years to now, whatever the things that has happened, it is taking the second. You should be able to clearly see that obsessiveness, intense preoccupation with the economic progress. That is what we can see. From 40 or 50 years, that whoever is of our age, if you see from your childhood to now, if you see there is a lot of obsessiveness about getting money, getting the things, so many things. There is intense preoccupation. A lot of preoccupation is happening and economic progress. We build a lot of money if there is economic progress. But what's wrong in that? He is asked, what's the wrong? Because we wanted to, civilization is happening, Western civilization is happening, so everybody is earning, everybody is actually progressing. What is wrong? He laughed and said, of course you are right. No one's saying it's a wrong. But the manuscript says that preoccupation is necessary for development. A stage in the human evolution, that is also a stage in the human evolution, but it is a time. Now, the end of the millennium, it is a time to wake up and see that preoccupation and reconsider our original question. What is our original question? What's behind life on this planet? What is the purpose of the life? And why you are really here? Why are you born in this earth planet really? That's the original question. Go back. Now it is a time to go back to your original question and see what's happening. Do you think other insights, so he's asking, do you think other insights have the purpose? Do you think that other insights have, Dobson said, it's worth to look at it if no one destroys it, because they didn't look at the other insights, right? First and second only they are talking about. So the rest of the manuscript, if we find a chance to see that one, then we can see that. If at all the Peruvian government, if they could not, if they did not destroy this important artifact, then we can do that. Then he's asking, how can they do that, such an important artifact? How can they destroy and they get away? Because it's a government, right? If they think, they can do it. I would think scientific community would be up in their arms and see what is that. That's why he said that that's why I'm returning to Peru. So I just wanted to go back. I represent the 10 prominent scientists. Dobson is saying, I represent 10 prominent scientists of all the whom they demand the original manuscript to be made public. So for that, he is going to Peru, and he has also wrote a letter to the relevant government heads of the Peruvian government telling that he is coming and he expects a cooperation. Then he said, oh, I see. You are actually informing, and then you are. So do you think that how do they respond? Probably they may deny it. But at least there will be an official start. Let us start. At least some official start should be there, right? So then he was thrown into the deeply into the thought, right? So whether they will do it or not, that kind of thing, right? So aeroplane was riding, and technology, aeroplane, he has also taken, he looked down the aeroplane. So he's thinking everything, right? So how the aeroplane was started riding, how the technology was implemented over the 4 centuries of the progress. So aeroplane did not come just like that, right? So much things, 4 centuries of the progress. We had learned manipulate the resources we had found on the earth. So we started learning manipulating the resources. Earth, whatever the resources we started manipulating. We are taking the oil from the earth. We are taking that. There's so many things we are taking from this nature only. Everything that is given, we are taking from the nature, and we are making the products, and we are just actually using, and we increased our standard of living. Okay. How many spend their whole life focused on tiny aspects, one small step, without ever lifting their heads in the preoccupation. So many people have lived the entire life just doing one task, just doing that without lifting their head. They were doing that in the preoccupation for suddenly. The span of history, Dobson, that I'm discussing seems to be integrate fully of my consciousness. Suddenly it felt like there is all the consciousness spread over this in this span of them, and although it's a part of my own life history. So he lived the world where the God and human spirituality was clearly defined, and then he lost that clear definition. We have sent the explorers out, discovered the real truth, and reported back. Then they had taken too long that we had preoccupied with you. So we sent some discoverers. In the medieval age, we sent that, okay, the God is not the force that everything was done by, or not the devil is not doing it. Then who is that? Who is actually running this universe? So some people were set aside, but everybody else was preoccupied with the new secular life, improving their lifestyle. So they try to settling into this world in a more comfortable way. So in that process, they discovered the metallic ores, melted down, and they made all the fashion kind of gadgets. They systemized the farming, they systemized the mass production, huge stores, material goods, vast networks of distribution. All these things were developed from the 15th, 16th century onwards. Propelling it all, called the progress, the desire of the individual provide his own security, his own purpose while he was waiting for the truth. So the desire of individual to provide his own security and his own purpose while he was waiting for the truth. So that's what, to create more comfortable, pleasurable life ourselves, our children, is merely the 400 years of our preoccupation. He's saying almost from 1600 to 2400 years of preoccupation, you started doing this only. So everything, you started increasing your standard of living. Everything was obsessively, you did it. Obsessive drive, conquer the nature makes more comfortable, had left the natural systems of the planet polluted in the verge of collapse. So how much it got polluted, it polluted in the verge of collapse. That much it got worse. And we have seen how much it got polluted, how we are all kept inside, and how the pollution was cleared with the pandemic and all those things also we have seen, right? The second insight, did make a new awareness seems to be inevitable. In the second insight, new awareness seems to be inevitable. We need to be aware of these things. We got the pandemic, and we just want, we were all there in the 1 year inside the home, and then we did something. But we need to be aware, saying that why this came, what is that it is trying to teach the mankind. We just polluted the world, or we just used the world like anything, and we polluted, and we are not actually giving the chance to live the other creatures or other things. That much we did it. So because of that, something happened, and we are all insiders. So here also is saying we went to a stage where our life is so comfortable. 400 years we just developed to become that modern age. We have created the means of material security, and now we seems to be ready, poised to find out what we have done. I could see the evidence of preoccupation, but also I thought I detected the brief glimpse of awareness. I saw that there's a preoccupation, but I see there are some of the people, some of the awareness is also there. The plane tilted, okay, and the flight attendant says that, oh, the Lima is approaching. We are landing. We are descending to Lima. That's what they mentioned. So because this all is happening in the flight, right? So Debson and James exchanged the hotels. So which hotel you are staying and which hotel I am saying. And Debson is also saying that the first thing I'll go is I'll go to the American embassy and tell that I'm here for the record, so that they will understand. So he said, oh, good idea. It was a good idea that you are telling. So I'm going to speak with the many Peruvians, and as many Peruvian scientists as I can. The scientist of the University of Lima has already told me that they have no knowledge of this manuscript, no, who are working here. So we don't know who will be willing to talk. So then he asked, like, because our James doesn't have any work right there, because he just with the girlfriend Charles told, and he started. So do you mind if I tag along? No problem. I'm going to suggest that. So we'll come. So after the plane landed, they took their luggages and they went. They pulled up the different taxis. So they exchanged their hotel names. So they went. But the moment he went to the hotel, the James went to the hotel, and he stops, right? Something, his stomach is pulling with some kind of fear. So I told that something is, he compelled, and he came back. Somehow he heard some shoutings, and he had, so as soon as so he immediately come back to the car, and he said, okay, drive back. I decided to change the hotel, so drive back. So Debson, so he decided to go to the Debson Hotel. So he went to the Debson Hotel, but there also, right, when he goes, he just went because there he saw some Americans and Europeans. There seems to be there are tourists. So suddenly, the moment he just came out and he wanted to go to the Debson Hotel, he heard everywhere the gunshots. There's a rang out, screams filled in the air. The crowd is full of flung, so the ground is opening. So it's a lot of thing, right? So suddenly the Debson came. Debson is also coming because he is going to the hotel. Debson is coming back. He recognized. He said, "Hey James, run, run, run! For God's sake, run!" He said. So this with the terror, James has ran out of the sight. So he ran. He don't know what that Debson was happened. He ran, and suddenly he moved somewhere. He just hiding. I'll stop here because what happened after that, after running, where did he go? We will see in the next session. Yeah. Is it clear? Am I too fast? Open to questions.